Why are Japanese people so thin? In this video, we're going to be answering that question. I'm in Tokyo, and we're going to be investigating some of the reasons why Japanese people stay slim and how you can use this knowledge to get the body that you want. The obesity rate in Japan is less than 4%, and when you're walking around, you almost never see overweight people. On the other hand, in America, the obesity rate is over 40%. This isn't an accident. Let's get into the reasons why. One of the biggest reasons is going to be diet. We're going to be talking about Japanese food first. All right, guys, we got some sushi for lunch today. For starters, we use some soup here. Having soup before food is actually a really smart hack, especially when it's low calorie like this. When you drink something before eating, it fills up your stomach, so you actually don't feel as hungry when it comes to the actual meal, and you'll end up eating less. That's an actionable little hack that you can implement today to help you eat less calories. Let me show you what we have here. Got some sushi. Now, obviously, Japanese people don't eat sushi all the time, but I think the concept here is Japanese people have a lot of whole foods and a lot of lean protein sources and lean carbohydrate sources. A lot of people will say that rice isn't good for weight loss. And I do have to agree that rice doesn't keep you very full for the amount of calories it contains. But the key here is that it's relatively unprocessed. They aren't frying this in a lot of oil, they're not using butter. That's a key thing to think about when choosing carb sources, is that you want them to be as unprocessed as possible. With the fish here, fish is an amazing protein source, especially when it's like this, where you're not adding any calories through sauces, oils, and butters and sugar. That's a theme in Japanese food, I think. There isn't a lot of added calories through sauces, like creams, butters, sugars, and that's something that you want to look for in your own cooking. So you want to think about having relatively unprocessed protein sources and carb sources where you aren't adding in extra calories through sauces, butters, oils, and sugars. Ready for a taste test here? So, we're in Kyoto. Here's another example of what I was talking about. See this meal here? It's very simple. You've got some beef, egg, green onion, seasoned with some seaweed on some rice. There's another example of a very whole food source meal that doesn't have a lot of added calories from oils, sugars, butters, creams, that kind of thing. And I think that is the key thing to take away from Japanese food culture, is that you're not adding a lot of extra calories and it is relatively unprocessed. The other thing to notice about this meal is the portion size. Portion sizes in Japan are a lot smaller than in America, and that's going to make a big difference in how many calories you're eating. One tip here is that using smaller bowls and plates will actually help a lot. So as you can see, there's a small bowl, and even though it's a relatively small portion, it looks like it's more because it fills up the whole bowl. One easy trick that you can use at home is to have small bowls and plates, because you're going to have smaller portion sizes and it's naturally going to fill up the plate more. As humans, it is a natural instinct for us to want to finish what's on our plate. So when you have a big portion on a big plate, you're naturally going to want to finish it. Having that bigger plate will also make you want to put more food on it. You'll notice that in a lot of restaurants in the US, you have these huge plates and obviously huge portions as well. But the huge plates aren't by accident, trying to get you to eat more. It's part of the whole food capitalism industry. We're at the hotel here in Kyoto. I just wanted to show you a couple of the dishes I got from this convenience store. This one has beef, egg, chicken, and the rice is underneath. And then this one has chicken with teriyaki sauce on rice. You can see the rice underneath here. I was really impressed by how you're able to get whole food meals at a 7-Eleven. I mean, when you see convenience stores back in America, it's full of junk like burritos and really processed sandwiches. And I really like that you're able to get relatively whole food dishes at a convenience store. And I think the lesson here is that you want to have easy access to relatively whole foods. What this looks like for you will depend on your own availability and what you have access to. But I think the idea is that you want to at least be able to stock your home with relatively whole foods. So you don't have to be going out and finding a lot of junk food or very high calorie options, which seems to be everywhere in North American culture. One thing I noticed in Japan is that people are a lot more active here. People do a lot more walking to and from work rather than driving, and they take bikes. This obviously helps a lot with burning calories. When it comes to fat loss, it's all about calorie balance. So calories in versus calories out. So when you increase the calories out equation, naturally you're going to burn more calories and it's going to be easier to stay slim. That being said, you can't outwork a bad diet. So it isn't right for people to say that cardio alone is what gets people thin, or being active is going to make you lose weight. But it does help, and I do think it's something that you want to keep in mind, especially because North America is so sedentary. People just stay at their desks a lot, they're on their computers, on their phones, they drive from their home to work and back, and really don't do any walking. So try and get some steps in and try and make it part of your routine. The train system in Japan is amazing, but with that there are a lot of stairs, and everyone takes them. A lot of the time, there's no escalator. I checked out a couple of gyms in Osaka and Tokyo, and they were actually pretty solid, but there weren't a lot of people in them. So it obviously isn't the gym that's keeping people lean here. That being said, I would recommend that if you are trying to lose fat, you should include gym training in your program because you're going to get a triple effect. First, you're going to burn calories from your workouts, which can actually be pretty intense if you're using heavy compound movements. Second, you're going to burn more calories at a basal level when you have more muscle mass. And third, you're going to make sure that you hold on to your muscle mass so you lose fat and not muscle. Here's a little physique update from the Airbnb in Tokyo. I'm sitting at around 165 pounds, been running a very slow bulk. I've been testing out a new minimalistic style of training, which I'm really excited to share with you. Stay tuned for that in a future video. We're at 7-Eleven right now. One of the things I noticed is that Japan has amazing convenience store food. And I think this is just a reflection of how you're able to very easily get relatively whole unprocessed foods. So let's check out what we got here. All right, we're checking out our fresh food section here. You can get some pretty lean vegetable sources. It's all fresh vegetables. Check out this, it's like a lettuce salad, some more salads. Got some protein sources. I was really impressed at how you're able to get so much lean protein at a convenience store. Look, check out these chicken breasts. This smoked salad chicken breast is bomb. I was very impressed. It tastes great and it's really lean. Like, this is straight lean protein. This chicken breast is probably like 25 grams of protein and barely any added fats or carbs. This imitation crab is actually a pretty smart hack for fat loss. I've actually used this in contest prep diets to actually use imitation crab meat as a protein source. It's very lean, tastes great. It's underrated in my opinion. You can get all sorts of forms of pre-cooked chicken that's ready to eat. You can throw it in salads and things. That's really cool. We got a lot of lean protein sources here. Octopus, squid, tastes amazing. I don't know how easy it is for you to get this kind of stuff where you live, but something to keep an eye out for. Japan has a lot of grilled fish with mackerel here, which I really like, and it's easy to get. That's the thing. This section has a lot of pre-made meals that you can see are relatively whole food sources. Obviously you have things like ramen and higher calorie options as well, but there are a lot of rice bowls. For example, check out this rice bowl. It's got good protein sources. The onigiri here is great. These are basically little rice sandwiches wrapped in seaweed with some salmon or fish or other types of protein, which taste amazing, and they're very convenient. In America, it's really hard to get convenient, low-calorie sources of protein and carbs, particularly if you want to eat on the go. You're down to something like burgers or other fast food. Whereas over here, we've got a lot of these types of options, which I really like. Takeaway here is to try and find food sources that are really convenient for you, have high protein and relatively low calorie, and they're going to be easy for you to take on the go and eat conveniently. Let's go on to the drinks this way. In Japan, it's really popular to have unsweetened teas just as drinks, and you'll notice a lot of people walking around carrying these bottles of basically just unsweetened tea. This is just jasmine tea, there's no sugar added. And as you can see, there's a whole wall of the drink section of this convenience store aisle just for unsweetened teas. The key here is that you're choosing beverages that don't have a lot of added sugar. In America, everything you drink is full of sugar, like pop, juice, even things that people think are healthy, like smoothies, actually contain a lot of calories. Even things like fruit juices, they seem healthy, and sure, they do have like vitamin C in that, but you gotta be careful about the sugar if your goal is weight loss. If you're trying to cut down calories, I usually recommend that people try and choose drinks that don't have any extra calories. Usually water is gonna be your best option, but something like unsweetened tea would also work great. I think a good rule of thumb is to just try not to drink your calories. The thing about drinking calories is things like juices, smoothies, just don't keep you very full. They have calories, but they're just gonna go through you. So In general, you want to be choosing carb sources that have fiber and things that are going to fill you up. We are leaving Tokyo. It was a great trip. Japan is very different from America, and it was really interesting to see all those things that we talked about. Hope you learned something from this video that will help you get the body that you want. Make sure you comment if you have any fat loss tips yourselves. Subscribe if you want to transform your life, and we'll see you next time.